की जय, युगमिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव, राधा माधव जय राधा माधव, जय राधा गोलोकानंद राधा गोलोकानंद राधे, जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम, कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम, जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन, गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन, निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव। गोलोकानंदे बोली श्री राधा गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। गोलोकानंदे हरि बोल। So Hare Krishna. We continue with the reading from Srimad Bhāgavatam, 4th canto, chapter 29, text 62. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye, नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले, श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने, नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ममैते मनसा यद्यद् असावहम् इति ब्रुवन्, Griniyat tat puman radham karma yena punarbhava mamaite manasa yad yad asavaham iti bhravan Griniyat tat puman radham karma yena punarbhava mamaite manasa yad yad asavaham iti bhravan Griniyat tat puman radham karma yena punarbhava. Mama, mind, ete, all these, manasa, by the mind, yat, whatever, aso, that, aham, I, iti, thus, bhruvan, accepting, Griniyat, takes with him, tat, that, puman, the living entity, radham, perfected, karma, work, yena, by which, punaha, again, bhavaha, material existence. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So the living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that, my duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus he gets another body. Purport. As long as one is absorbed in the bodily conception, his activities are performed on that platform. This is not very difficult to understand. In the world, we see that every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, and that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow man. All these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. There are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. It is not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. Although many great philosophers and teachers in this world are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished, this is not a fact. Srila Narad Muni says in this verse that at death, one takes his plans with him, Griniyat, and to execute these plans, he gets another body. This is called Punarbhavaha. When the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans shape in the next life. This is known as the law of karma. As long as the mind is absorbed in the laws of karma, a certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. Bole Shri Radha Golokānanda Bhagwan Ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Mohini Kadashi Ki Jai. So karma is the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. We have actually seen that when one man was about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. This means that while dying, he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of the subtle body, composed of the mind, intelligence, and ego. Thus he would get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who is always within the heart. Sarvaschaham hridi sannivishto matas mritir jnanam apohanam cha vedesya sevar aham eva vedyo vedant krit vedavid eva chaham. So in the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the Super Soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. This is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita in another verse. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who was seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 61. So situated on the vehicle given by the material nature and reminded by the super soul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans, thinking, I am a Brahman, I am a Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, and so on. So all these designations are of the same essence. There is no point in becoming a Brahman in preference to an American or becoming an American in preference to a Negro. After all, these are all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. So in this text, we are seeing here how Srila Narad Muni is enlightening the king, Raja Prachin Barishad. The king wanted to know the science behind the transmigration of the soul. So he was asking how is it possible that if the soul who is entrapped in this gross material body will suffer in the next body due to the karma of the present body. And this is how Srila Narad Muni is explaining that when the gross material body is finished, the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego continues and takes the soul to another gross material body according to the desires of the previous gross material body under the dictation of the subtle body. So here, as explained in the purport, so as long one is absorbed in the bodily conception, his activities are performed on that platform. And we have to understand that the subtle body, mostly the mind, the subtle body consists of three parts: the mind, the intelligence and the false ego. And the mind has so many desires. So he wants to fulfill these desires. That's why even when the gross material body is over, the subtle body continues to function. And this is the science. This is due to the law of karma. Whatever activities that is performed in this current body, so the soul, and as mentioned, the subtle body is going to experience it in the next body. So it carries, the subtle body carries these conceptions to the next body. And this is not difficult to understand, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. We see that every nation is trying to compete or to supersede every other nation, and every man is trying to compete with his fellow men. So all these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. And there are many plans for making the body comfortable. We see in the material world, there's so much nowadays that people are enjoying, and there are so many facilities for sense gratification. And these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. So it is not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. The living entity continues to live in the form of the subtle body. So when the gross material body is over, the subtle body continues. So the main problem is how to get rid of the subtle body. So the subtle body, as we have read earlier in the third canto, where Kapil Bhagwan was explaining to his mother, Mata Devahuti, about devotional service. So, one very important verse that his lordship mentioned was how when someone eats food, the food gets digested in the stomach. So similarly, when someone is doing bhakti, so bhakti is going to kind of digest or disintegrate that subtle body. So when the gross material body is over, we have to understand that since we have so many plans, so many desires, so the subtle body is going to take the soul to another gross material body. And there, once it reaches that body, is going to continue with the previous plans. So there are many plans for making the body comfortable, and these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. So it is not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. No, the subtle body continues and takes us. And so this is how the subtle body works. And we have seen, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, although many great philosophers and teachers in the world are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished, but this is not a fact. So here, Srila Narad Muni is explaining to Raja Prachin Varishat, so that at death one takes his plans with him. So this is the technical word used, Grihniyat. So we are going to read this verse again. So Mamaite Manasa Yadyad Asav Aham Iti Bhravan Grihniyat Tat Puman Radham Karmayena Punarbhava. So Grihniyat here, as Prabhupada is mentioning, means takes with him. So what is taking with him? He's taking with him all his plans. So Srila Narad Muni says in this verse that at death one takes his plans with him, and to execute these plans he gets another gross material body. So this is called Punarbhava. When the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans shape in the next life. So if someone is taking to spiritual life seriously, so his plans will be spiritual, and he is going to develop a spiritual body. But if someone has some plans to enjoy, so that's why he is going to get another material body for his enjoyment. But the chances of getting a human body is obviously very, very less. So this is known as the law of karma. So as long as the mind is absorbed in the laws of karma, a certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. So karma is the aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. So we have actually seen, this is what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, about a person who is about to die, but he is requesting his doctor, his physician, to give him a chance to live for some more time so that he could finish his plans. So plans and desires will never be finished. We'll always keep on having so many desires, unfulfilled desires. But if these desires are not dovetailed with the desires of the Lord, then we'll be given another material body. So this is what Srila Narad Muni is explaining here. So this means while dying, that person who was requesting for further life from his doctor, so he was thinking of his plans, and after his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of the subtle body, composed of mind, intelligence and the false ego. So thus he would be given another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who is always within the heart. And as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, Sarvas Chaham Hridi Sannivishto Matah Smritir Jnanam Apohanamcha. So this is something very interesting to understand here. How the Lord gives us Smriti, Jnana and Apohanam. So that's why many times people ask, but then if I was there in a past body, then why don't I remember what I did in my past life? So here, Bhagavad Gita is giving the answer. Because from Bhagwan, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan is explaining that he is there in everyone's heart. Sarvas chaham hridis sannivishto. Mataha, from me, smriti, comes remembrance, jnanam, knowledge, and apohana, means forgetfulness. So why do we forget? And why when we have lived a life in our previous body, why when we get a new body, we forget the past experiences? So this is from Bhagavan himself. He gives the apohanam, the forgetfulness. So that's why when you have a laptop, you format the laptop. So everything is erased. This is what Bhagavanji does. This is the understanding from apohanam. So in the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the super soul. So from where we want to we have so many plans. Or sometimes we say, okay, this child is God gifted. See, he's such a nice singer, or he's such a nice musician, or he plays so well. Something of the kind. Why? Because he is now enjoying or experience whatever he has developed in the past life. He is going to take it in the next life and to continue. So the same thing here, as explained by Srila Prabhupada, in the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the super soul and begins to execute the plans begun in the previous life. So again in Bhagavad Gita, we see from chapter 18, text 61, Ishvara sarvabhutana hrideshi arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra arunani maya. So the gross material body is being explained as a vehicle here. So the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities. So Bhagavan is directing us, because Bhagavan is going to be with us always. Wherever we go, He is always there as the Paramatma in the heart. So whatever it desires or whatever plans we had in our previous life, so He guides us to continue with us. Unless we want to get out of this material body, otherwise the direction is given by the Supreme Lord. So this is the purport of this verse. So situated on the vehicle given by material nature and reminded by the super soul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans, thinking, I am a Brahman, I am a Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, and so on. So here, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that all these designations are of the same essence. There's no point in becoming a Brahman in preference to an American, or become an American in preference of a Negro. After all, these are all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature. So to be able to serve their lordships, Shri Radha, Golokānanda, is very important that we go beyond this material conception of the body. Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Mandir. Hare Krishna.